you've stopped making D&D content, as many others have in the wake of recent scandals. How is that going? What are you doing now?
Yeah, so before the OGL drama actually happened, I did a survey on my channel, and about 73 or 72% of the respondents on that survey said, yeah, move away from Dungeons & Dragons stuff, stop covering like game statistics, it's boring, just talk about the lore, talk about it in person as a character in the world. That's the content that we really like, and if you want to explore other games and things like that, absolutely go for it. We're here for you, not necessarily just Dungeons & Dragons. And I was like, wow, that was a much higher percentage of people who were willing to support me no matter what than I ever thought. And so I was moving away from Dungeons & Dragons content before the OGL drama hit, and it kind of dragged me back into it, really. Like, I didn't have a bone in the fight anymore, but I was just so outraged with what they were planning to do. And that I had seen this coming from such a long distance away, like 2 or 3 years or so. It was like everything that I predicted was going to happen took place. You know, they saw the money for microtransactions and VTT expansion and augmented reality, and they just saw dollar signs and getting away from print products, getting rid of books. So yeah, from my perspective, everything that they were doing was just absolutely like revolting, corporate greed to the highest order. And and the people that were working in the industry were kind of trapped behind NDAs and jobs insecurity at the time after, although I don't really think they should have been, because post-COVID, there's a lot of places which are asking for work, Anyway, so moving away from Dungeons & Dragons content, I'm finally getting to stretch these creative muscles after writing the equivalent of 4 novels a year, making D&D videos and scripting out those, every single one of them. I've got a big stack of the scripts behind me that I keep just to look back and go, yeah, I'm a writer. I'm not just a video maker. I'm a writer. And those writing skills are being put to work now. And I'm writing a book which has got a picture of an alien species on one page and information about that alien species on the other page. And I hope to get like at least 1,000 aliens in there by the end of the year. And each one of them is going to be more interesting than the last, as I'm packing as much original content into that as I can, with a shout out to a few science fiction authors that I really respect, and the aliens in their books that have never been depicted before outside of graphic novels and fan content. So, for instance, you may recognize David Brin and his Trachea species from Startide Rising and the Uplift series. Really fantastic book series. And David Brin is a brilliant author and a brilliant human being. He's a researcher as well. But most of that, about 90% of that content is brand new, just out of my own head. And that's what I really love about it. If people appreciate those videos, they're appreciating me, not some other author that I'm reporting on. It's my content that I'm producing and releasing to people for free over YouTube, with the aim of turning it into a novel, basically a bedside book, a homage to Wayne Barlow's Guide to Extraterrestrials and The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I love more than anything. And well, along with that, I'm going back to my roots and examining all of the Palladium books as role-playing games, and looking at their rule systems, how they differ from Dungeons & Dragons and other role-playing games. Shedding some light on and getting people introduced to more different indie games that they may not have heard about. So all of the games that I played when I was a kid, Traveller and Paranoia and Toon and Car Wars and you name it. And also modern games like Fantasy Age and some of the old school revival games, Lamentations of Flame Princess, and those sort of things, debunking a lot of the myth and a lot of the antagonistic sort of stuff between the two different franchise or different communities. Like, for instance, Lamentations of the Flame Princess is not what most people think it is. And it's actually quite a fun playable game that you can play with the whole family these days. I mean, kids are exposed to a hell of a lot more gore and nastiness, which then is found in those books, that's for sure. But, you can ramp it up if you want to, but that's not really the focus of the books. It's the focus of the books is just play the way that you want to play and play narratively. And, the game is the thing. The immersion and the fun of it is the thing. And also, James Edward Ragi III is just a hilarious and fantastic human being to listen to, much as I appreciate your content as well, Grim. I definitely love his style. Even though we disagree on a lot of different points, I think it's very healthy, and nobody should ever just judge you for the content that you watch, which is in opposition to the way that you present yourself or your ideologies. I think it's extremely important to listen to opposing points of view to inform your own and reinforce your own points of view. But living in a vacuum, in a bubble, is extremely unhealthy, and that is being exploited by corporate media to use against us. And we call that hostile marketing or outrage marketing, for instance, like the Hadozi inclusion of slavery in their Spelljammer book. That was not a mistake. That was deliberate. So, I mean, see how fast they retracted that on the digital content, but they didn't retract it in the print content. They didn't say, oh, we're going to do a book recall and print new books and send them out to you. No. Their intention there was to erode your faith in print products as a medium and say, look, the digital one we can update straight away. The digital product is superior. Yes, the digital one, the one that you pay a monthly subscription for, is much, much better. No, I can see through them like a jellyfish. And it's a heart full of rotten sea slugs, I tell you. Anyway, so yeah, that's my plan going ahead. And also doing some crafting videos and things like that. But as always, it's my channel and I do what I want. And my passion has gone away from Dungeons and Dragons because they broke my heart, basically. And they're a wretched corporation, and I hope they go out of business. And I won't go back to Dungeons and Dragons content until they do, and somebody else owns it.